team still should be coming in very high form. And yes, they might not be as experienced on the current patch, but this team is certainly good enough to give, you know, a tough time to any team here in the LEC.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So let's keep an eye. I want to definitely see how Vizichachi's Rumble does. It is a very, very old school pick, and these early stages of the game into Nico, always going to be a little bit brutal. Ranged harass and auto attacks going to be challenging to deal with. 11 CS to 5 after the first 2.5, nearly 3 waves. And Xerxes, if this wave continues to be pushed, will have some opportunities to jump onto Wonder. It's very difficult to catch this Chameleon because of her kicks.
Yeah, looking from Xerxes' early game pathing, I don't think he's actually interested in ganking Wonder. I think they're going to be sacrificing Vizichachi for a lot of this early laning phase. You know, if he wanted to gank top, he could have gone red Raptors, then Krugs for a gank, but instead he went red Krugs and then started pathing down. So looking to cover the pushing Kabe and Norskeren more so, then try to bail Vizichachi out of the tough top lane.
All right, and I wonder if any opportunities will present themselves. Perks and Mickey running this Lucian Braum bottom lane. Duo that we did see a whole lot over in MSI. And Xerxes, after picking up the Scuttle Crab, does spawn a little bit later. If you haven't kept up with the patch notes, will be in position to contest. Notice Jankos in the bottom half of the map as well.
Yeah, and because Jankos is down here, actually, I think Xerxes has a good chance to look to take control of both Scuttle Crabs. He's going to be seen on a ward pathing up towards the top side of the map now, but Jankos went for a full clear early on. Now he has a red smite, so he may actually try to find Xerxes in the jungle because Xerxes, of course, hasn't gone for the reset just yet.
All right, not just yet. Starts the recall literally as you're talking about it. Going to be able to pick up his first complete jungle item, and every time I look at the mini-map, Kabe and Norskeren with the early push, but Chachi's just getting bullied under.
Chachi's getting really bullied, and if he doesn't go for a base here and TP back in, keep your eyes on Jankos. There was a blue side ping on towards the Splice Krug camp that should be spawning around the 430 mark. Now Jankos clears this Scuttle Crab and can now path up top lane because he knows he has the support of Wonder. What he doesn't know is that he was actually spotted out on a ward, and Xerxes has some idea about it.
All right, Xerxes, fortunate because of that Rek'Sai passive, will find Jankos. Jankos has a ward up in that top Krug camp, as you mentioned. So Xerxes is going to have a lot of information, but instantly backing away, not quite willing to pick the fight yet. Look, Chachi's still defending a minion wave underneath his turrets.
Yeah, it's very problematic here. Jankos lands the smite. Xerxes is going to be trying to get scraps here. Notice, too, that Caps has now pushed up this minion wave as well. Something G2 did so much at MSI was move Caps toward the top lane and look for turret dives. It has to be something on the minds of Splice right now.
Well, definitely when you can unlock Wonder, he can unlock the game for you. And that's something that has happened a lot. No kill secured. Splice down 500 gold thanks to those CS deficits. And with this control in the top half of the map, Jankos is really just having a field day running over Xerxes' jungle. There was a smite by the Krux.
No!
Xerxes unfortunately does not pick that one up, so Jankos able to walk away. And the only small circumstance here is that Kabe has a small CS advantage over Perks.
I'm going to say right now, if Rek'Sai's E was not nerfed, Xerxes would have had the damage, he would have gotten the smite down and gotten the Raptor, but unfortunately now, Xerxes going to be a level up over Jankos going to be a level up over Xerxes.
Yeah. So what you just said, muscle memory doesn't help you there most likely. Or
I would have made the same mistake.
Small miscalculation. A little bit of a fan of Halo Blade's Rek'Sai there. Ender, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It's the best room for him.
There we go. And that's why Xerxes picked it. But of course, we did see, as I mentioned, Kabe and Norskeren just continually shoving in, and these junglers, they seem to be playing on the same side of the map the entire time. So good information sharing, good spotting. And now, again, with Humanoid being pushed all the way under the tower, Caps is potentially the first to roam, which I think is why Xerxes doesn't start the fight.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons why Xerxes can't fight. First of all, mid lane and top lane are getting pushed in very far for G2, so even when the fight was topside, Vizichachi couldn't really help him. Second, Jankos went for the challenging smite, whereas Xerxes went for the chilling smite. That means that Jankos has the on-hit, damage that he's going to do in these duels. He also does a mini exhaust on towards Rek'Sai as well, so all fights should go in Jankos' favor up until I think level 6 is when Rek'Sai really gets a lot of power and could turn things around.
We're getting closer and closer to that point, but thus far, this was sort of the game plan. Stood on top of a ward, the recall will complete there from Xerxes, and when I was saying, during draft Ender, you were mentioning that Splice really just wanted to sort of mitigate, play slow, play controlled, but Norskeren's in a little bit of trouble. We'll be able to dash backwards. Now Kabe gets away. No summoner spells used just yet. Kabe actually, I think, spell shield up that little attack from Perks. But the wave is pushing forward, and as I was mentioning, slow and steady, scale up, get your items, get Chachi through this early phase where he was down 15 on CS at one point, still down 10, but that feels so much less bad as time goes forward.
Yeah, it certainly does, especially once you start getting up some of that flat magic penetration on the Rumble. You're going to do a lot of damage against relatively squishy targets on the side of G2. Shouldn't be able to build up too much magic resist themselves. I would like to, focus in on the bottom lane for just a moment, because we finally saw Perkz and Mickey pushing up, taking an aggressive trade, but that's because they had Jankos with them. Early on, we expected them to win the fights, but because Jankos had a much higher focus on setting up his top laner Wonder, it allowed Kabi and Norscaron to push in the wave and use their teleports to consistently apply pressure.
All right, those teleports are on cooldown now for everybody across the map. And looking at the objectives, Herald's going to be up in the not-too-distant future, and we've got an Infernal Drake. So I want to talk a little bit about who do you think could make the first move here? Because one of the old-school stories is don't mess up a dragon fight against an Equalizer from Rubble, because that can be game-changing. You're not getting a chance just yet as Chachi does shove Jankos out the way.
Yeah, I think the times of Rumble instantly winning a fight around Dragon based on his ultimate are a little bit gone to this point, but it is fair to say that in a 5v5, when you stack an on-hit Nico in Wonder against Vizichachi's Rumble, that Rumble will certainly win out. So it is an interesting situation here where Splyce would prefer to find a fight, but because their jungler's actually on the back foot at the moment, it's difficult for them to engage anything until Vizichachi's TV comes up.
All right, so keeping my eyes on that, about three-quarters of the cooldown has already been used, and you can see Xerxes, he's just waiting in the wings. It feels like he's shadowing his lanes more than anything right now. Was, covering in the bot lane as Kabi and Norscaron looked like they could get jumped on, obviously covering top lane there as well. So the right place at the right time. We're getting closer to 10 minutes, that gold lead still slowly creeping up, around 800 gold, and Splyce, I think, are not going to be too disappointed with this. Assuming they do not concede kills or turret plates, that can allow G2 to accelerate the game.
Yeah, the best news for Splyce is that right now Kabe has about a 200 to 300 gold lead over his counterpart in Perkz. We know that Sivir will scale into the late game fights with that AoE damage much more effectively than this low range single target damage Lucian will. So Splyce are certainly comfortable at the moment, even though they are down 1,000 gold. The difficulty that you face, though, against playing against G2 and against a team comp that is built to play very skirmish heavy and have the split push style, is that these small gold leads early on will balloon and get bigger and bigger until you can find that final 5v5 fight.
Especially if you look at the minimap, there's one plate missing in the mid lane. Get to that in a moment as Jankos has the opportunity to get in behind Norscaron. 2 more shots, will get the stun. That's a dash away to the side. Sivir ultimate is just enough movement speed, so they trade 1 ulti for 2. Technically, Splyce's favorite trade.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think it was actually a very interesting gank there by Jankos. We see Wonder actually proxying the minion wave between Vizichachi. But I think that gank was actually just to burn a flash. They never intended to get any sort of kill out of it because Caps was going for a reset at the same time. I think the idea for G2 was if you can burn a flash, that means the next time Caps runs mid after that reset, you can push the wave and then find the collapse. But they didn't get the flash, so now they get stalled out a little bit more.
So planning a few steps ahead. Seen that a couple times. While we saw Wonder proxying that top lane, you can see Vizichachi's equalizers on cooldown. Just before he finished the back, he actually dropped that ulti, shoved the wave back out. It's 2/3 around again, so almost available. And Haunting Guys and Teleport is up. So that sort of timing window started playing out. But it may be too late because that's first blood to G2. Jankos has just led the way, and everywhere Jankos goes, G2 are able to respond quicker.
Yeah, Jankos used the early game lane pressure, and then now at 11-minute mark as well, more lane pressure. Just spot out Xerxes, invade into the jungle, find him out, easily kill him, and that first blood will result then in an Infernal Drake. The worst thing that could happen is Splyce get snowballed on like this.
Oh, Realm Warp is now coming in. That was actually hijacked away. Caps doesn't get rooted into the tower, though, with 1 tower shot. Humanoid's going to try and turn this one around. The Kingslayer is running back. Room Prison comes out. The overload. Humanoid solo kills Caps.
Yes, he did. Caps went way too deep under the tower. I have no idea what he was doing with that Realm Warp, and Humanoid punishes him for it.
Oh, really nicely done. Humanoid turning Caps' aggression against him, and that was one of the players that we had our eyes on coming into this matchup. whether or not Humanoid's growth and development from Spring Split could make him more competitive against the fields.
Yeah, because I felt like Humanoid's entrance into the LEC, it was all right, but it wasn't anything special. It was very average, and, you know, in a very stacked role like the mid lane, that in itself is good for a team, but for Splyce, who wants to push into that top 3 and, you know, make some sort of contention against these top teams, you need to have a mid laner that can stack up against the likes of Perks.
All right, you do indeed, and right now, there's an engage on the mid lane. Norscarin not going to find anything. Really easy escape as Jankos was just standing behind Mickey. And Splyce, by the way, they got 1 kill on the board. They also rotated their duo lane top, and now they've got themselves into a predicament where they can race for first tower. Wonder's gone to the bot lane, and there's a lot of shenanigans afoot as there's at least 3 or 4 members of each team in the top half of the map.
Yeah, Vizichachi now actually going to sacrifice some CS down bottom lane. He's going to walk back down there now, but you see Splyce want to find this 5v5. They make the call to back out in the end, and we get forced out of the river. That's going to give a lot of control over to G2, who now have pressure in mid lane and could threaten starting up the Herald themselves.
All right, 1,000 gold advantage to G2 Esports. A number of plates fallen 2 apiece in the top lane. Vizichachi finds himself 25 CS down from Wonder, and Cobby's only a minion way above 7 and a bit. Humanoid around 10, nearly above caps. I feel like this Infernal Drake would be worth more than the kill, especially as Humanoid has no flash, flag, drag, dunk. Wonder comes in with the autos, momentary blip.
Makes them wait for it.
And G2 pick up not only the kill, but they get themselves a bunch of plates, and this should be Tower First Blood as well.
Yeah, just 40 seconds on those plates going down. They're going to be able to pick up all of them. G2 with a massive power play in the mid lane. We'll watch that one more time, maybe, because Jankos went for like the smallest EQ flash I've ever seen, but it's very good TV boss.
This is already going to be a chase. While there's an engage up in the top lane, Norscarin cannot chase Perks. What was that? Suiciding. Now down to the bottom lane. Pop Blossom. Not going to be enough. Caps picks up the kill. All of a sudden, Splyce, they bite off more than they can chew.
Oh, Splyce, what are you doing? It was close, and then all of a sudden, a very big misplay. Top side, they get TP'd on down bottom lane, but this is what G2 do so well. They just keep fighting you everywhere on the map, and they don't give you time to think.
No, they really don't. And remember, G2 set up the proactive plays early on. That's what allowed them to pick up first blood. Now they've punished the decision-making after Humanoid wins the 1v1. He was flashless, he was ganked within 60 seconds, and that opened up the tower. Fortunately, it didn't fall for Splyce, but they're down 3,000 gold because of moments like this.
Yeah, just a TP ward put very deep in the lane. You can see Vizichachi thought the play was going up towards topside. He has no support, but he pleaded for that extra turret plate. And I hate to break it to you, buddy, but that is just not worth it as Caps got that kill.
No, absolutely not the case. The only benefit for Vizichachi is he's still holding onto his TP right now. He's got himself the equalizer available. So if there is some big team fight, Splyce need to dig themselves out of a hole. It is a significant gold lead. And it's a little disappointing because just pulling that grand entrance a little short from Norscarin, not finding Perks, who, fair enough, was actually able to dash away as well. So all credit, you know, miss and dodge. And G2 turn around to get the counter kill.
Yeah, I mean, there are also those recon nerfs we talked about, making it easier to react to plays like that. So Perks had more of a window of time to avoid that initial engage, and ends up spoiling that one for Splyce.
He does indeed. You just saw the graphic on your screen. Next game, by the way, is going to be Vitality versus Origin. That's because Schalke versus Excel is the last game of the day. It's more information on why that schedule change happened over on Twitter at LOL Esports. Rift Herald was started while I started that little update, and there was enough threat and counter-threat for Splyce to bail out. Humanoid used the Realm to do so safely.
So what we're seeing is classic split burst versus teamfight comp ideas going down right now. Splyce are bringing everyone in towards this top side of the map to try and take a Herald, to try and take a fight, to try and get something, because right now Wonder is continuing to push down that bottom side, get a larger and larger CS lead, but they have to act quickly because Wonder could TP into a fight.
All right, Wonder's got that available. All members of Splyce are up here. Looks like the engage. Norscarin zoned away Perks for now, but Cobby's already low. The culling is deleting Splyce where they stand. Xerxes goes. That's a flash pop Blossom. Not really going to do a lot, but Humanoid's left alone. The Rift Herald is unkilled, and only Vizichachi remains. That was a fantastic fight for G2.
Chachi's trying to become one with the Wolf Camp, but it is not enough as Perks picks up the ace. While he's doing that, you have Caps pushing in on towards that mid lane. G2 blow wide open.
This is exactly the performance that you expect from the MSI champion to start their summer split campaign. It has been a controlled and calculated push to build themselves up nearly 7,000 gold leads.
And they've also come back in with exactly the same style that they were playing to such success at MSI. It's strong solo lane picks. It's the ability to split the map, push lanes, and play for a split push. But also, when the time is right, you can group up because of the gold lead they got from the laning phase.
All right, let's take a look at this replay. So it's just before the Herald engage.
Yeah, Kabe gets dunked with so much damage right there. He does flash out, but unfortunately, Wonder teleported straight on top of him. By the time that you reach this point in the fight, you realize G2 just collapsed from so many different angles. Splyce were searching so hard for that 5v5 that they put themselves in a position where there was no escape.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think, by the way, when I'm watching this game, all credit to G2. They're playing very well, very calculated. But I almost wonder if Splyce are worried about the plot armor. In many ways, when teams came up against SKT in years gone by, because it is SKT, you second guess, you doubt, you have these questions. Seeing some of the plays from these guys, like Chachi's just going to get soloed.
Well,
seeing some of the plays, Norscaron missing the ultimates, you know, Chachi getting really bullied. Xerxes been completely pushed away. I wonder if the guys are in their own heads just a little bit, because I expected a little bit more from Splyce, and this is a very strong team. And now all of a sudden, Colby's just going to get killed out.
It just doesn't stop, Trev.
It doesn't. 11 kills, 18 minutes. Jankos has been everywhere, 0, 1, and 9, and the rest of the team is backing him up.
Yeah, and you can just see what G2 do. They control quadrants of the jungle. Right now, it's that northern side. They're going to get 1 inner tower. They're going to get 2 inner towers. Splyce are relegated to standing inside their base. We're just 18 minutes into the game.
Beautiful, beautiful performance. At 14 minutes, G2 had around a 1,000 gold lead. 4.5 minutes later, they're about to break open the base. They've got themselves 9,000 gold. There's an engage. Chachi's down again. The equalizer can't even kill the minion wave. And now Humanoid's forced to flash defensively. The inhibitor's going to get killed before 20 minutes. Tanglebox will lock them up. Not going to follow on the flag and drag. Here comes a pop blossom. That gets the stun. That gets 2 more kills. Still a minute and a half before 20. And G2 get the inhib.
G2 speedran games last split. They're looking like they want to speedrun this entire summer right now. 19 minutes into the game onto the second inhibitor tower. This is the best team in the world.
Absolutely no doubt. Inhibitor in the mid lane will get chunked to 70-odd% before the rest of the squad start to back away. G2 Esports. Well, I tell you what, this is a statement. If ever I had seen one, and they're coming, they're showing, they're not done. MSI was the start. We'll have to see how far they can go.
Yeah, it's almost hard to say anything to that. G2 doing so well so early on. Now I'm just waiting, you know, what is the next big thing they're going to pull off? What's the craziness that will come our way? Because that's been the fun of this team, right? Is that it's not just that they're the best and they do it in a very calculated and, you know, controlled way. It's the fact that they always feel like they bring something unique and a new element to play.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And the decisiveness is just something to behold. It's beautiful. They can not only kill the entire enemy team, but they can take the inhibitor at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, Splyce just don't have the health bars to ever, you know, walk forward and provide a front line for Kabe. Kabe's got 2 items. It's like, guys, I'm doing all right compared to Perks, but it really just is not enough. Everything around it isn't working for Splyce.
Yeah, we talked about that gold difference. You can see the big spike there. It was up for a moment, just before 15 minutes, and then just flew away. Second dragon of the game picked up. And this is the opening game of summer. After this, every other LEC team will take to the stage, and they'll be watching this game, taking notes, and trying to figure out how to topple this behemoth.
I mean, Frost said it on the desk, G2 is the bar now.
Yeah.
When it comes to international competition, we never had that before. We never had a victor. So now G2 comes back home to Europe, and your play against G2 will give you accurate details of how you would perform internationally. Right now, it's clear that G2 is just the best.
For anybody that didn't manage to tune in just before Ready Check, we had that celebration of EU and G2 Esports. And in preparation and in research, one of the things that I giggled to myself about was one of the first teams that popularized this very aggressive, very proactive style was Moscow 5. Well before your time, young one.
I was not playing League of Legends when Moscow 5 was a team.
And while Splyce are under pressure, their motto was see hero, kill hero. G2 have perfected that. They're diving under an inhibitor turret at 21 minutes. They've taken it. The culling is going to push Humanoid away, and G2 Esports will take their third inhibitor of the game. Wait for some of those super minions to conga their way in, and then take down the next.
Look, Splice have all 5 members up, but this is just one of those points where you sit back and say, this is just a G2 thing. Burst flashes in.
He does indeed. He dashes away from Norskarian as well. The Rakan engages are simply not good enough. Wonder's going to look for the Pop Blossom, and it will just be enough to farm. Cap steals away a Realm Warp. Now, will that be used stylishly? Realm Warp starts to channel underneath the fountain. Oh, cracks the Caps! Go all the way in! All for one and one for all. Spice get themselves 2 kills. Make that a third. As G2 Esports are now being run down. Caps is running for his life. Electro Harpoon's burning him down.
He's turning around. Cap's going back in.
Oh my word! With the help of Wonder, the Solo Raiders from G2 Esports do not care and turn it back around on Splice.
C2 literally ran it down into the fountain, but Caps and Wonder are still strong enough to get the win. They go for another.
They are indeed. Cersei
With
gets
his own ultimate.
hijacked, adding insult to injury. G2 Esports catch off onto Cobby. He's the last Splice member standing, and he will not be able to stop this. The Nexus falls. G2 Esports obliterates Splice.
Quick shot, that's still the same G2 that won MSI.